All right, it's 2:30. Thanks for everybody that's logged on here. And today's webinar is about emotional intelligence. I do have some follow-up suggested reading for those that are interested. Um, and quick little heads up, usually we allocate about 30 minutes for this. I think today the content is going to be maybe more like 15 or 20 minutes. But let's get going. And again, thanks for joining us here today. So, why emotional intelligence matters? Well, emotional intelligence, often known as EQ as well, it's not just a buzzword. It's a scientifically validated predictor of success. Studies show that people with high emotional intelligence perform better in leadership roles. They're more likely to thrive in their careers and even experience greater personal well being. So, um, if nothing else, do it for that. So, my ask here is think about, the best leaders that you've worked with. What made them effective? Chances are they weren't just technically skilled, they also had the ability to connect, inspire, and understand others. That's what emotional intelligence is in action. And the good news is emotional intelligence is it's not something that's fixed. It's a skill we all can develop. In this session today, we'll break down what emotional intelligence is, why it matters, and how you can cultivate it to elevate your leadership and your career. One of the most common questions about emotional intelligence is, can it be improved? And the short answer is yes, it's just that it takes effort. So unlike IQ or your intelligence, that tends to be more fixed. Okay. Emotional intelligence is influenced by both genetics and life experiences, which means it can evolve over time. So think of EQ as a set of personality traits like empathy, self-regulation, and communication. um, we can sharpen those things through awareness and practice. While some people naturally score higher in these areas, research confirms that intentional effort can strengthen both our intrapersonal and interpersonal skills. This is good news. It means that by focusing on self awareness, managing our emotions, and practicing empathy, we can boost our emotional intelligence and even help others do the same. In the next section, we're going to explore practical strategies for developing emotional intelligence and in your leadership and everyday life. So we've established that EQ is not set in stone. It can be strengthened with effort and focus. The same applies when helping others develop their emotional intelligence. But improvement doesn't happen overnight. It just requires commitment and working with intention. There are 5 key steps to developing emotional intelligence. First is self-awareness. You have to be able to understand how our own emotions are affecting and influencing our behavior. Once we've worked on that and mastered that, self-regulation comes into play, learning to manage emotional responses instead of reacting impulsively. And that's a big one. Next, motivation, cultivating an inner drive that pushes us to grow and persist despite challenges. There's going to be some discomfort in that area, and we have to be able to push through that discomfort and be motivated to change. Empathy is another pillar of EQ. It allows us to connect and understand others. Very important. Finally, social skills, using emotional intelligence to communicate effectively, build relationships, and lead with impact. All right, as we move forward, we'll explore practical ways to apply these steps in leadership, teamwork, and personal development. A key challenge in emotional intelligence development is the gap between how we see ourselves and how others see us. Our identity, our internal view of who we are, often doesn't align with our reputation or how others perceive us. This gap can be a major barrier to self improvement, especially when it comes to emotional intelligence. Here's the reality: most people believe they are emotionally intelligent. Only a small percentage are actually rated that way by their peers. This means that self deception is relatively common, and without feedback, We may be blind to areas that need growth. So, how do we bridge this gap? The answer is accurate feedback. We can't rely on informal feedback alone because people are often too polite to be brutally honest. Everyone's read Radical Candor by Kim Scott. Instead, data-driven tools like validated personality assessments and 360-degree feedback surveys provide a clear picture of how our EQ compares to others. These insights are fundamental in turning self-deception, self-awareness, and ultimately into growth. A major key to career success is shifting from a self-focused mindset to an other-focused. While it may sound simple, this can be challenging for those with lower EQ because it requires seeing things from other people's perspectives, especially when there's no clear right or wrong answer. When we intentionally focus on understanding others, we build stronger relationships and create environments where people feel valued. That's a big one. We've done employee surveys at organizations that, and people feeling valued is very, very highly correlated to job satisfaction and prolonged tenure in the organization. This starts with something very basic, acknowledging and appreciating the unique strengths, weaknesses, and beliefs of our team members. Instead of making assumptions, we need to engage in brief but frequent conversations with them. These moments of connection help us understand what motivates them, what they struggle with, and how we can best collaborate with them. By making these conversations part of our routine, we unlock opportunities for greater collaboration, greater teamwork, and better networking. We begin to see how different perspectives contribute to stronger decisions and innovative solutions. Leaders who actively develop an others-focused approach don't just manage people, they inspire them. There's another one, feeling inspired. Same correlations there, job satisfaction and prolonged tenure. When teams feel understood, they engage more fully, leading to better overall performance. When we make meaningful conversations a habit, we create an environment where collaboration thrives. These discussions help us appreciate different viewpoints, leading to better, well-rounded decisions. Leaders who shift their focus outward, managing to truly understanding and inspiring, see stronger team engagement. That's what we're after in organizations. Employees who feel heard and valued contribute more, take ownership, and drive performance to new heights. Want those things for your team? Working on emotional intelligence is a great start. Key takeaway, a leader's focus on others is the foundation for a motivated, high-performing team. Okay, passion and enthusiasm are great leadership qualities, but they can quickly cross the line into moodiness if we're not careful. Let's be honest. No one wants to work with somebody who throws temper tantrums when things don't go their way. In business, if you're seen as too emotional or unable to handle setbacks with maturity, you may lose credibility and influence. It's going to be a problem. A key step in managing emotions is recognizing your triggers. What situations tend to spark your frustration? Remember, we talked about self-awareness. It could be, is it a full inbox first thing in the morning? Is it a critical comment in a meeting? Instead of reacting immediately, give yourself time to process. Wait before firing off an email response. And if someone irritates you in a meeting, take a breath and stay composed. You don't need to become a Zen master overnight, but you can work on emotional regulation. The more aware you are of your emotions in real time, the better you'll be at managing how they come across to others. This self-awareness is a critical step in developing emotional intelligence and maintaining strong professional relationships. Have you ever felt like you're the only competent person in the room? If so, you might be giving off an air of arrogance without even realizing it. Strong self-belief helps leaders climb the ranks, But if it isn't tempered with humility, it can make you seem unapproachable and even dismissive. Best leaders don't believe their own hype. They project confidence, but remain open to learning. Learning mindset is key here. They admit when they're wrong and listen to feedback, even when they don't agree with it. When things go wrong, teams look for leaders who provide direction and support. That requires checking your ego, picking your battles, and recognizing other people's contributions, even when you're convinced that you have the right answer. Here's the reality. While society rewards people for hiding their insecurities, it's far more important to hide arrogance. If humility doesn't come naturally to you, practice it, even fake it if you have to. Because at the end of the day, a leader who appears humble earns more trust and loyalty than those who insist on always being right. Really should read that one again because that one's key. A leader who appears humble earns more trust and loyalty, things that we're definitely working on with our high performing teams, trust and loyalty, than those who insist on always being right. Let's be honest. Nobody is perfectly emotionally intelligent all the time. The key isn't perfection, the key is progress. Even if you only apply these strategies some of the time, you'll start to see improvements in how others perceive you and how they respond to you. Remember, the goal is not to fundamentally change who you are, it's to shift behaviors that might be holding you back. With enough focus and repetition, new habits will replace toxic tendencies, leading to better relationships, stronger leadership, and greater success. This is why effective coaching can sometimes invalidate personality test results. When you consistently act with emotional intelligence, your default predispositions become irrelevant because people experience you based on how you behave, not how you feel inside. So start small, practice often, and remember, most successful leaders are not born with perfect emotional intelligence. They just build it over time. So that's the end of our content. I do have some follow-up follow-up resources. Just one moment here. Apologies for not having it queued up. And we'll look then in a moment, see if there's any Q&A. Last time we did not have any. Here we go. The first is how to boost your and others' emotional intelligence. This was published in HBR, Harvard Business Review, January of 2017. And the authors are Tomas Chamorro-Premisic and Michael Sanger. The next is 3 exercises to boost your emotional intelligence, according to research. Emma Sapala is the author, and this was first published in HBR on June of 2020. Last one, I believe, was by Goleman. Yep, Daniel Goleman, What People Still Get Wrong About Emotional Intelligence. That was published December of 2020. Don't see any Q&A here, so our next event is coming up on Wednesday, July 16th at 3 p.m. Central Time. And this webinar is Inspirational Leadership, the 3 Essential Roles of a Leader. Thank you for joining, and we'll see you soon. Oh, you can find you can log in and register at www.straightforward.today. Click on Legacy Path Advising, and under special events, you'll see our a link for our webinar. Thanks for joining. Bye-bye.